everybody, Nick and Goddess for Nick's America. I am back again, this time to talk about a little video that has gone viral. I mean, it has just blown up over the last few days, and you can see it right here. You've probably seen it already. Russell Brand owning the establishment media on basically an establishment media platform, which is Real Time with Bill Maher. I know, a lot of people love what Bill Maher says and everything, and I do occasionally as well. But let's not forget that any time to this day that man gets the chance, he craps on Trump. Still Trump can do no right. So, you can like him all you want. I'm not saying that you have to kiss the ground that Trump walks on and, like everything he did. I only liked about 65% of the things he did, but that's better than most presidents. And you mean to tell me in 3 years, not including the last year of his presidency, which was hijacked by the Chinese, you mean to tell me in that time he didn't do one thing right? So I'm going to play the video here. And you guys have probably seen it before, but for those who haven't, Russell Brand, the actor and comedian and podcaster. The guy sitting next to him is an analyst from MSNBC. His name is John Heilemann. And he is a corporate shill. He is a company man who will say whatever he needs to say in order to keep his paychecks coming in. And you're going to see the pushback after Russell Brand calls him out. So let's just watch the video here.
I've not known you long, but I love you already. But I have to say that it's disingenuous to claim that the biases that are exhibited on Fox News are any different from the biases exhibited on MSNBC. It's difficult to suggest that these corporations operate as anything other than mouthpieces for their affiliate owners in BlackRock and Vanguard. And unless we...
That took some guts to call out BlackRock and Vanguard. Now, Russell Brand's a multi-millionaire. He doesn't have to worry about much. He's got over, 6-7 million subscribers on YouTube, and I don't know how many on Rumble now that he's moved over to Rumble. I think he's live on Rumble, and then he posts to YouTube, which is huge for Rumble. But for him to call out BlackRock and Vanguard on a national show that people watch clips of, at the very least, through social media or wherever else, that took some stones. And, you're going to see that this guy over here, John Heilemann, is not going to like what Russell Brand is saying so much, and he's going to come back and, it's with the usual talking points.
Start to embrace, and also, mate, just spiritually, if I may use that word in your great country, we have to take responsibility for our own perspective. I've been on that MSNBC, mate. It was propagandist nutcrackery on there. I went on a show called Morning Joe. It was absurd the way they carried on.
Good Morning Joe. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It wasn't morning. There was no one called Joe there. No one could concentrate. They didn't understand the basic tenets of journalism.
Messiah Complex, that's the name of your tour?
Yes.
Do you have one?
No. It's a mental illness.
Right. And you don't have that either?
I hope that I'm here as a fully qualified professional gentleman.
None of us are.
Free from mental illness.
Free from it.
None of you. This is a hotbed of neurosis and psychosis.
Yes.
Oh, my word, I'm grateful to be here.
Yeah. But Joe...
You know what happens if you work in media? People like to change the information so that it suits a particular agenda. If you're in a room with people, then what you're saying is clear. If you say something that people are confused about, you can explain it to them then. If you say something as a joke, people can't pretend that you're saying it seriously. So I like having direct communication with people because I believe people are very, very intelligent, but the information gets manipulated a lot and people like to cause, fake stirs and stuff. What is it? You're conveying news to the people of America?
Yes.
People of America, we're going to be okay. Everything's all right. These are your trusted anchors.
Leaning.
No one was willing to stick up for genuine American heroes like Edward Snowden. No one was willing to talk about Julian Assange and what he's suffered trying to bring real journalism to the American people. And I think to sit within the castle of MSNBC throwing rocks at Fox News is ludicrous.
My friend.
Make MSNBC better. Make MSNBC great again.
My friend, I would The moment
Fight them on a territory you can win on, Joe.
Make MSNBC great again. Oh my God, that had to be a slap in the face. And that's, I mean, this guy is chomping at the bit to come back at Russell Brand, but Russell Brand did a masterful job there of controlling the conversation. But Heilman's going to get his 2 cents in here, and you'll see how he responds.
Russell, darling, the moment that you give me a specific example, an actual example.
Okay, I'll give you one.
Wait. Just
we need a specific example.
How about a specific? Let me tell you what the specific I'd like to hear. I'd like to hear a specific example, a provable specific example of an MSNBC correspondent or anchor being on television saying something they knew was false, and we're saying behind the scenes to people, I'm about to go out, and we know that the election wasn't stolen or something equivalent. But I will go out on television and say the opposite. I will lie.
When's my answer?
Just give me the specific example.
I understand the basic point.
Give me a specific example. See, the left has learned slightly, because this is what the right does to the left. Because the left usually, they'll be on Twitter or wherever else, and they'll bark their noise and everything and say how much they hate this person, or this person's a Nazi, or this person's this, or this person's that. And the person on the right that is responding to them will usually say, well, prove it or give us an example. So that was good on his part for Heilman. But the problem is when you go to a leftist and you say, prove it or give me an example, they can rarely, if ever, give you an example. They just go, well, I know, and blah, blah, blah. And I don't need to take all this time and talk about, X, Y, and Z and the specifics of it. I just know it happened. And it's like, well, okay, well then shouldn't you not ask the same of your counterpart when you don't like what they're saying? I mean,
a specific example.
All right. I'm with you. I think it's a false equivalency, Russell.
It's not.
That's your own bias.
It's not about bias. It's a false equivalency because you don't actually know anything about any of these organizations you're talking about. Even on MSNBC ones, big fucking deal.
My darling, it was more than enough.
You can't come up with such a carry. You have a single actual fact.
Do you want an example?
Yes.
The ludicrous, outrageous criticisms of Joe Rogan around ivermectin, deliberately referring to it as a horse medicine when they know it's an effective medicine.
Rogan also sharing with his over 13 million followers that he's taking the drug ivermectin, meant to treat parasites and worms in horses and other animals.
We immediately threw the kitchen sink at it. All kinds of meds, monoclonal antibodies, ivermectin.
Despite being unproven as a COVID treatment and dangerous for humans in high doses, ivermectin has received a recent boost from online misinformation, prompting warnings from the FDA and other health officials. The FDA tweeting last month, "You are not a horse, you are not a cow. Serious, y'all, stop it."
What Rachel Maddow turning up on the TV saying, if you take this vaccine, you're not going to get it.
Think about it. If there are two paths, and at the end of one path there are 0 deaths, and at the end of the other path there are more than 500,000 deaths, which one's the safer path? It is to keep you from getting it and then spreading it.
When it hadn't been clinically trialed for transmission, you have to listen.
Wait.
Do you think you can improve America?
John Heilman doesn't want to hear a thing that Russell Brand has to say. John Heilman has already made up his mind. He is closed-minded. This is the difference between these two. Russell Brand is open-minded because he used to just be on the left, but he has listened to reason. He has read countless, articles to the contrary of what he thought was the truth. And these guys on the left don't do that. They will not read right-leaning publications, whereas people like myself will read a left-leaning publication. I will use CNN and MSNBC as a source. I will use, I'm using him right now. I don't have to listen to a damn thing John Heilman says. I could have just made this completely about Russell Brand owning this guy and not given him his 2 cents. But I let him speak his 2 cents. And all it was coming back at Russell Brand like, oh, big effing deal. And you don't even know anything about these corporations. While he doesn't say a damn thing about them himself. He doesn't know either. Although, you know, he knows that they're signing his paychecks in terms of providing the money for his outlet. So, you know, people like John Heilman, I don't know if it's something ingrained in them, if it was something they were born with or what, but just stop lying. Stop lying, dude. We know you're lying.
This was clearly lying.
How do you not know you're lying? You have to know you're lying. I mean, Russell Brand is giving you examples, and you're still poo-pooing it. You're still saying, "Oh well, no, that's non." What was it that he said?
Deliberately referring to it as a horse medicine when they know it's
Non-responsive. I don't even know what the hell that means. Non-responsive. What are you trying to say? He's giving you the example that you asked for. And he's going to give you even more. What about Rachel Maddow every friggin' day for 2.5 years talking about Russia? Russia. The bullcrap, you know, Trump's a Russian agent. We're still waiting on that. There's no proof. You have yet to show me anything. And yet we're the conspiracy theorists.
Effective medicine.
Yeah, that's
what
not a bad
Rachel
example.
Maddow turning up on the TV saying, if you take this vaccine, you're not going to get it, when it hadn't been clinically trialed for transmission. You have to listen.
Wait.
Do you think you can improve America by determinedly and avowedly condemning Fox News without...
We could all be better. That is the left's way of saying, yeah, we're kind of crappy at our job. It's we could all do better, because a leftist, a communist, a socialist like John Heilman, they have no problem just lying straight to your face if it keeps their narrative intact. We could all be better. Sure. Yeah, that's anybody saying that, it's valid. Because nobody's perfect. So, of course, at any time, anybody could say, we could all be better, and it's a valid point. That's how they get away with their crap. They'll never fully accept blame unless they bury it in an update on an article that was printed 6 months ago that you'll never see the correction for. Let's finish this.
Fox News without acknowledging that you're participating in the same game. Did you not just listen to Bernie Sanders, someone who plainly, legitimately believes in this country and believes it's possible to change, but is bound by corruption, is bound by the lobbying system? Surely it's clear to you, Bill, as one of the great pundits and experts and comic voices, that systemic change is required. Money has to be taken out of politics. We need new political systems that...
He's got a point. And you know what? I'll give him the point that in Bernie Sanders' eyes, because Bernie Sanders was another guest on this episode, I will admit that Bernie Sanders, maybe in his own socialistic image, in his democratic socialism, he might genuinely love this country because, well, it afforded him to never have to have a real job in the real world. He has lived off of you and me his entire adult life. Whether it was before he was a politician and just living off the government dole, or when he finally became a politician, I believe in the 80s, and just lived off of the taxpayers, continued to live off the taxpayers, just in another way. Now he actually had a job. No, but even Bernie Sanders, like Russell Brand said, it doesn't matter how much he loves the country in his own way or whatever else. We saw in the 2016 election, you know, they screwed Bernie over, and then 2 weeks after he drops out of the race, he's got a brand new, like, what is it, $500,000 beachfront home, like, after he endorses Hillary Clinton. Come on.
genuinely represent ordinary Americans so that we can overcome cultural differences. And bickering about which propagandist network is the worst is not going to save a single American life, not improve the life of a single American child, not going to improve America's standing in the world, and the world needs a strong America. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that.
He's 100% correct. I will say this right now. Without a strong United States, the world is over. I don't care what China has in the works. I don't care what Russia has in the works. Canada's done. Mexico is run by criminals. Who is there? Brazil? Yeah, if they could maybe get their crime under control and not, have their own fixed elections, there's really nobody else. If the United States ceases to be a strong nation, which we're already on the brink of teetering off of being considered to have any strength, society's over as you knew it. I'm sorry to tell you, you might not like it, but that's just the way it is. This country, with all of its faults, even with the regime that is currently in charge, is still, without a doubt, the greatest place to live on the globe, and it's not even close. I don't care what tiny country you want to compare to the United States. There's no comparison. There's just none. So people like John Heilman can keep spouting his lies, and the best point that Russell Brand came up with there in that last 30 seconds or so was that why are we focusing on these two propaganda outlets arguing with each other? That's basically just businesses bickering back and forth over who has the best product. It's like it would be like Pizza Hut and Domino's fighting against each other publicly, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing, just obviously different avenue. Like, who cares? Who cares how Fox News feels about MSNBC? And who cares how MSNBC feels about Fox News? Try and find the news that is important in the best, most legitimate way you can. And that's why we want to have conversations like this, so that we can talk about these things and kind of question why we are so, as people, so easily susceptible to drinking whatever Kool-Aid they're putting in front of us. I'm not saying it's you. I'm not saying it's me. I'm not saying it's anybody else. I'm saying there is a large majority of people who do, because all they're worried about, and you can't blame them for it, all these people are worried about is putting food on the table for their family, going to work every day so that they can do that. And how, the health of their children, if they have any. That's what they're worried about. The news is ancillary. It's secondary to everything else. Which, to be perfectly honest, family should come first. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like I said earlier in the video, just stop lying. We hear what you're saying, but we know there's nothing valid about it. So why do you just keep up with it? It's got to be exhausting to be a pathological liar like people in the establishment media are. So, as I said a second ago, let me know in the comments what you guys think. You see all the links and everything. Please like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the notification bell on YouTube, even though YouTube doesn't let you know about most of our videos. So check back frequently, or just head on over to Rumble and BitChute and watch there, and give the alternative platforms a view or two. So, until next time, for Nick's America, I'm Nick Kingadis.